is.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another broadcast from the Smite Console League Xbox this morning. I'm Tom. It's the Taco. How you doing, bud?
I'm feeling pretty good. Ready to get started off with this European action for the conclusion of our SCL fall split on the Xbox side of things.
Noxious, Retribution are who we're going to take a look at today. Very exciting, as we said. Everything coming down to the wire. You saw that little hype video that we've got. That's because we're headed to LAN. We're going to see these players in person on the best of their best. We're going to see who climbs to the top. But for now, Noxious, Retribution battling it out down here.
And it's been a pretty competitive split for the Europe this past fall split because I think a lot of these teams really stepped up their gameplay, especially trying to reach that of RvL, and some of them have actually accomplished it throughout their sets.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these teams kind of step it up. As I said, coming down to the wire, looking forward to LAN. HRX on the horizon. These teams are battling it out to really get there. You guys can just buy tickets, though. hi-rezexpo.com. That'll get you in the building for DreamHack. Smite and Paladins, both console and PC, are going to be located here, downtown Atlanta, at the big boys table, as I like to say, with a ton of other esports.
And there's going to be a lot of fun-packed action throughout the 16th through 18th, but you're going to want to make sure that you take off that 19th as well in case you want to stop by the after party once everything is through with the main event.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. $50 gets you in that door, and that's really where everybody relaxes, rewinds. You want to hang out with your favorite Smite personalities, your favorite Smite teams, show up, have some drinks, play some skee ball, maybe even play around on the obstacle course. It's definitely a lot of fun. One year I even made Hindu Man do
he did the climb, right? With the rope ladder or something?
It was fun.
It's like a trapeze line.
Yeah, you definitely going to want to watch that one. I don't know about the schedule for the after party, but we've got the schedule here today for Console Monday. Noxious, Retribution going to start us off today, and then we'll look at Flashpoint and Elevate. After that, we'll move on to PlayStation.
And PlayStation should be a pretty interesting ride also because I think that we can definitely agree the level of play that we've been witnessing on PlayStation has certainly exceeded a lot of the public's expectations. I think that a lot of those players came in with perfect preparation.
Yeah, I think, you know, when the Xbox League started, the level of play was much, much lower because these were much new players. I think a lot of the majority of the people in the PlayStation League, we've seen some Xbox transfers, some PC players as well. And of course, these people have just been inundated with Smite a little bit longer. So we've got a competitive league right off the bat, which was really fun to really celebrate and kind of watch go down. Seeing all the PlayStation guys really step up was exciting and definitely a very tenable part of what we got here going on at the SCL. So here, with Xbox starting off today, let's take a look at picks and bans for Retribution and Noxious. Very interested to see where each team winds up. First pick belongs to Retribution.
And we've been seeing a lot of priority towards Athena and Terra specifically as far as the Guardians are concerned. I would expect to see a possible Athena ban, Terra bans. Pele comes as no surprise either just because of how much early game presence she's been having such a heavy impact lately. And Freya, Chernobog, again, some more of those familiar bans. I think we've kind of grown accustomed to watching teams strip away from the other.
Aphrodite, not exactly one of those familiar bands we're used to watching teams strip away from each other. That's kind of out of nowhere. Very surprised here with Baron banned. I want to see a first pick Chernobog. But the Aphrodite, I mean, where'd she come from?
To be fair, Noxious really do love running that double sustain composition, right. And I think that having them run the double healer compositions makes it be a certain way for Retribution in terms of them wanting to just ban stuff away that they feel might lead Noxious towards that double healer.
It's possible. Retribution with some recent changes. Their jungler going to the wayside, so they've got their hunter moving over to the jungle position, and their solo laner shifting over to that long lane carry. So we'll see which jungler really steps up here for Retribution. And with that in mind, that might change their picks and bans. Noxious going for the Athena and the Neith, the global characters here, to really match what Chernobog can do. And Serqet will be the jungle of choice for Retribution's new player. And in the first round, they'll round it out with a nice Kuzenbo to kind of keep players at a distance.
I think this also puts a little bit of pressure onto Noxious, where they might want to go ahead and secure their solo laner, or possibly even just look to pick up a mid. Yeah. I feel like Retribution has a lot of variety they could still opt for with their current 3, and that, to me, Noxious with a Hachiman pickup instead, already giving away the double hunter.
Yeah, this is straight up double hunter composition. I want to see Retribution immediately ban this Fafnir. Hachiman already going to amplify what Neith can do, so I want to make sure that Retribution keep that in mind and have the Guardian in check. Athena can play solo or jungle very, very proficiently, so I'm not sold that this Athena is going to be in that Guardian position. There's that Terraband you were talking about. Retribution looking in the jungle.
But I feel like Retribution already has Noxious all figured out. The fact that they opted for the Kuzenbo in that top 3 tells me that they were expecting Noxious to go for this double hunter composition, and for Noxious to still stay committed and undeterred from seeing the Kuzenbo, that's going to be a little bit tricky for them to work around in the early laning phases. And I like this round out of crowd control here from Retribution. Chiron Cleanse going to be excellent for getting away from some of those Athena taunts, even the Neith World Weavers or Spirit Arrows. A lot can be avoided just from that Chiron Cleanse alone.
I also like Retribution. You know, I said I wanted to see the Fafnir ban, but Retribution sees Double Hunter, and they go into the Magical Jungler bans, which is also very important. Noxious, I want to say forced into the Mercury, although Mercury is so damn dominant, it's hard to be forced into it. But Retribution saw the Double Hunter and then went, all right, you can't play Ao, you can't play Hebo, so you're going to go Poseidon jungle? Where's your magical damage coming from? So Chang'e and Athena, the only magical damage for Noxious, and I think Retribution are going to look to take advantage.
Basically just the Chang'e, because with the Athena being the only Guardian on this team, I would imagine that that's going to be an Athena Hachiman duo lane for Noxious. And my concern here is Mercury. He's been such a prevalent pick as of late, and for good reason. With the addition of Golden Blade, now his clear is pretty insane off that Made You Look. But heading into the match, I feel like this Mercury selection might actually end up working against Mango because of that Kuzenbo pickup. I'm just not sure that Noxious's Hunters or this Mercury even are going to have the luxury of really doing anything auto-attack priority-based. And if that's the case, I mean, you're already eliminating Mercury's dominant aspects here for Retribution. And on top of that, Eribiiax and Hydro, they just have to also look to figure out a workaround. But the rest of Retribution is also nothing to scoff at. Yeah, Retribution, they've got a nice lineup. As we said, some players kind of mixing and matching over here. The jungler Meownate now playing in the carry role, and then the solo laner Lyzurrr moving over into the jungle. So Mr. Turtle going to be playing for Retribution this time around. Dobson still in that middle lane. And it looks like the majority of fans think that Noxious is going to take the victory. And while the team has been a little bit more successful watching their games, I'd agree. Looking at the draft here, it's going to be an uphill battle. Lyzurrr already under aggression here from Reform Mango, going to end up losing both of the right mid Harpies there, and now Eribiiax looking for the cutoff. Won't be able to connect with that Unraveled or the Spirit Arrow, but Lyzurrr only needs 1 or 2 more auto attacks. Nice dash there. Lyzurrr gets wrapped up and put down. First blood for Noxious. That's a huge deal for Noxious right here. Total bad boy could be in trouble as well. Retribution not giving it up. XuenMushh can't really quite finish it. Meownate's still sitting at level 1, but he does have that red buff around the Chernobog. That's going to push back Xuen and Hydro just a little bit here, but Total Bad Boy's definitely got to be more careful about how he chooses to path into those creep waves. Taking a lot of damage from the Athena and those minions. That's heavy damage here. Noxious, I think they're going to show us kind of why we actually play out our games, right? There's a world where you just look at picks and bans and you say, all right, this team won the draft. Retribution won the draft. I can say that very handedly. With that said, Noxious, they force out the first blood, and this pressure in the dual lane also seems to be going the red team's way. Noxious right now, as I said, it's going to be an issue for them if everything's all even. But if this Mercury and everybody else able to get off to a start like this, Hydro able to pick one up as well.
And I think you're just at a point where Noxious is going to be too many steps ahead, and it doesn't matter that they're heavily physical favored.
Total Bad Boy's death could not have come at a worse time either. The purple buff being completely exposed now is going to be nice and easy for Noxious to scoop away. Xuen, certainly no complaints there. Gnome, though, getting taunted in from the Cobra's Kiss off of Lyzurrr. Deathbane will connect, but Reform Mango looking to wrap around the corner, and now Lyzurr's being the one who has to back off.
Mr. Turtle wrapped up one more time. He'll be able to use the Sumo Slam to get out of trouble. Kappa will help out slow the Mercury. But all in all, it's just going to push Lyzurrr away, and the blue buff invade will go the way of Noxious.
Imagine if the Nene just, on his last dying breath, last hits the blue buff.
That would be, well, that'd be funny. That would go to Retribution. My favorite is still when the jungle camps clear the jungle camps and nobody gets the buff. We've seen that a handful of times.
Oh, with the minions when they run in?
Exactly. Yeah, if the minions you bring a minion from the lane or something like that. If a minion kills the jungle camp, technically the minion gets the camp. So neither team can pick it up. Works for Fire Giant as well. I think I've seen that once in my lifespan where a minion got the last hit on the FG. And I remember all players just kind of like, what? Was that a bug? And afterwards the admins confirmed, no, we watched the tape and minion number 42 killed the Fire Giant, so nobody gets the buff.
Well, we're used to them killing the Titan, so can't really be all that surprised when they take everything else.
But when the Titan dies, a team wins. Imagine if minions killed the Titan, it was a draw. Nobody won.
I think we'd have some very upset pros.
I think we'd have some very upset casters as well. Congratulations, that was a draw. We're gonna have to do it again, boys. I don't think anybody's happy with that result.
Do it off the one of the 50 minutes.
Oh yeah, I'll take no, Jackson. Dobson gonna be wrapped up. Nice beads prevents him from getting hit by the secondary dash. Noxious, 2K up, nice and early.
Delayed beads can be impactful during certain moments. It's not unusual to see players trying to hold their purification beats just in case there's not actually any real follow-up from a sonic boom. Reform Mango not exactly at that one-shot take-all stage, but Meowne could end up falling either way if he's not careful here.
Mango's here, he's got help from the Athena as well, help from the Neith as well. Hydro with the last hit. And the basics, good enough. Hayajutsu will help Hydro get the double kill. But Total Bad Boy, that's what he's going to do. Number 1 for Retribution as Gnome takes the 2v1 on the right side.
And is very clearly winning it, by the way. Gnome has already expended the Waxing Moon, getting some pressure onto Mr. Turtle and Lyzurrr, but Lyzurr's left-hand side is just getting completely controlled here. Dobson, without those beads, is just going to be forced to run away, but Xuen...
He's going to get him.
Xuen's got the kill.
He's going to get him. Dash. Oh, the dash doesn't hit. If the dash hits for the slow, we see that death happen. Now Xuen has to avoid ex-solo laner Meowne. He'll be able to walk away.
As long as the Crystallized Curses, or he's not in that radius of the Crystallized Curses, then the Vicious Barrage won't actually be able to root him in place. Meowne just a little bit off the mark with that one, which is unfortunate because Xuen's dash was on cooldown for quite a couple of seconds longer there. I think he would have definitely been able to confirm it between the burst damage of the 1-2 combination on that Chernobog and just the enhance to follow suit.
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing. As I said, Meowne recently making his shift over there from the short side. He missed like 4 basics in a row, and I think he just went, I'm turning around now. I think we've all, I've been streaming again, and I've been very, you ever just miss the Naja ult and just
all
back?
The time.
You just back. Like, I used to do it as tier all the time. You blink, fearless, I missed. I'm back in a base. Don't look at me. Please don't look in my, pretend this never happened. I think that's kind of what Meowne was thinking there. But Lyzurrr got his dash caught. But Eribiiax a little too far away.
Lyzurr's actually been struggling on this Serqet with the Deathbane especially. I think the interrupt between Mango and Xuen on this Mercury Athena has been a lot to handle for the Serqet. And Hydro actually going for the lone invade, going to get caught out by the Cobra's Kiss. Deathbane will apply also, but the damage mitigation is going to be enough to save him. Hydro actually getting a return kill there onto Lyzurrr.
Now here comes the rest of Retribution. The shots out of the Chiron not going to be good enough until it will be. Ha ha ha. But the turnaround from Mango will certainly help. 1-for-1 in the extended engagement. Ultimately a 2-for-1. Noxious starting that match a little bit earlier. So still maintaining their lead. 6-2, 7.5 in. And about a 4,000 gold lead for the red team.
Still a win in the long run, though, because
yeah.
not only do Noxious get the 2-for-1 exchange, but keeping control of that purple buff from Retribution. I believe Hydro was able to find the last hit in the end. And so with that in mind, Retribution still haven't been able to respond appropriately yet with having all of their members in position in time to defend.
Gnome might be in trouble here. Gets pushed up. Still dealing some damage. Does he have a teammate? He does, but the taunt a little out of range. Lyzurrr still doesn't want it. Taco, you play a lot of Hunter. You are my go-to analyst for talking about Hunter stuff. Can you discern any sort of world where... Ooh. Lyzurrr going to be safe and sound for now. Bloodforge first item. I want you to talk about this. I'm not very happy about it.
I don't mind the Bloodforge first item. It's a rather expensive buy to invest towards. I think for a Chernobog, though, especially one that is as far behind as Chang'e, it is not only unnecessary, but probably detrimental in the long run, just because he had to drop 2,800 gold just to finish the item to begin with. Hydro's already gotten the Ninja Tabi online, so by the time Chang'e even begins to start rushing his boots, we're probably going to see a finished Ickful, Executioner, or something similar like that out of Hydro, and so Chang'e is just going to permanently be playing off of the back foot with this Cherno.
And moments like this are going to be problematic. Not only are you wrapped up to infinity and beyond, but imagine he just doesn't have the movement speed. Wrong choice from XuenMushh. Doesn't matter. Lyzurrr still falls down.
Barely. Just barely finds him with the last breath. That really was his last breath. That
was the last tick of the last breath coming through. Oh my goodness. XuenMushh coming through in the clutch there. Eribiiax dodging and weaving. Will get hit by the Stygian, and that's enough for Dobson to get the kill. Nice setup, but here comes Mango. Beans late and way too late. And said Hydra shows up maybe a little bit too early.
Meanwhile,
wish you had boots there, Chang'e.
Yeah, this is just a death within a matter of time. Chang'e starts backing in place, fully understanding of his death. I think he meant to ult to someone else with that Living Nightmare, because the fact that he wound up so deep inside of Noxious's jungle, either he was on the escape from Hydro, which is why Hydro rotated into the mid lane to begin with, or Chang'e just slip of the thumb? I'm not sure on that one. We've all been there, though, with Chernobog ulting to the wrong shadow. Yeah, no, I mean, Chernobog, Neith, and Athena, we've all kind of made that slip of the thumb. I like that. I'm definitely using that in the future, by the way. Well, for us, it's slip of the wrist.
Yeah, slip of the wrist, slip of the tongue. I like slip of the thumb. That's good. That's good. Hydra right now. That diamond skin. He'll get in trouble for that. But it looks good. I respect that.
Hey, look good, play good, feel good, baby.
I respect that. You know, there's a couple of NBA players that'll wear different sneakers, get fined for it, just go out and look good. Dobson wishes he had some new sneakers on. Ultimate will slow him down. Nice cancel. Oh, boy. Dobson survives thanks to the Chiron passive. They were so convinced that Dobson might have been falling already that they didn't bother pursuing that any deeper. Although, to be fair, I doubt that Noxious really wanted to extend much further than going into that red buff territory there for Retribution, simply because even though Dobson manages to survive, the rotation from Retribution could have wound into another death. Lyzurrr trying to take up an exchange, a 1v1 exchange with Mango, despite being 4 levels behind, just seems a little bit peculiar. Yeah, you know, and it was funny because Mango was just trying to leave. Mango's on his way out, and Lyzurrr taunts him, and the whole exchange, I say body language, I know they're playing characters, but the whole exchange, Mango's trying to leave, Lyzurrr taunts him, and even with the last made you look, Mango's just turning around. He's like, dude, I don't want to kill you. I don't want to do this. I'm not trying to kill. You know what? Fine, buddy. And he just takes care of Lyzurrr nice and easy. As you said, 4-level deficit between our junglers. Not the most intelligent choice from Lyzurrr there. This is fantastic, though, from Noxious. Not only are they fully ahead and bullying Retribution outside of their own jungle, but Xuen gonna be able to ult away after stealing that blue buff, and all Lyzurrr can do is stop and stare.
and understand that one more time, that blue buff's going to go the way of Noxious' solo laner, courtesy of his teammates.
Here's a rush on the total bad boy. Hydro hits by the ultimate from Eribiiax and the basics from Hydro. That'll be number 11 for Noxious. Meanwhile, under the tier 1 towers, Remnants. Lyzurrr gets hit up by the ulting Mercury.
But it's just so fast-paced from Noxious that Retribution don't really have time to think about where they should be responding first. There's pressure in the dual lane, there's pressure in the solo lane, there's pressure in the mid lane. At all points in time, Noxious are choosing to spread Retribution thin. And RvL, no intentions of slowing down. Now that he has the hasty katana, going to be able to grab Mr. Turtle off the waxing moon. Mr. Turtle looking for the sumo slam, but it's Gnome who's been taking the tower the entire time.
Where are these players coming from? Where? It feels like we're playing horde mode, and Noxious players just keep appearing out of nowhere. Their attention to their teammates, very, very important. I'm loving how intensely they're playing this game. I'm with you. I love what you said about the tempo. Noxious are just... They're cluttering Retribution's comms by attacking at the same time. This is a strategy we've seen Energy use all the way back to Season 2, where they would push, they would make their moves across the map, all at the same time. And then what winds up happening is in the other team's comms, they go, I need help left, I need help mid, I need help right. And everybody just doesn't know where to go, and it's just a mess.
But this Hachiman's just going unpunished because Lyzurrr is so far behind. He's relying on proxy farm, which is ultimately just going to take away from the rest of his team by proxy farming.
Hachiman is proxy farming.
And the fact that Hydro, without anybody anywhere near him, Athena ultimate having been expended already, I'm just surprised that we don't see some sort of like 3 to 4 man grouping from Retribution and just trying to barrel it down in the dual lane where Hydro is left by himself. You know that Noxious are going to take your T1 and T2 tower. If you run over there, all you're going to do is probably die in the process of watching them take those said towers. So why not just go for the one member that's actually isolated themselves?
Mango looking to isolate Lyzurrr. XuenMushh gets to XuenMushh. Mushes Lyzurrr down there. Total bad boy, what you gonna do when they come for you? Noxious doing just that. Reform Mango certainly ripe right now. Noxious up 10 foul at 15-15.
This is just rough right now for Retribution. The fact that Noxious have consistently kept up with the pressure by also stripping away the towers, opening up the map, further exposing Retribution on their retreat pathways, and the constant cycle of just Gold Theory, Pyromancer, kill somebody, take a tower. That's all that we have seen for the past 10 minutes, it feels like.
Noxious has just been on their game. Mr. Turtle gets rooted, but will find a way on out. Dobson pulls out the ultimate, and no kill on a Mango. PS down below, Meownate becomes food for Gnome. Now XuenMushh and Eribiiax back on the chase. Gnome going to show up. Lyzurrr looking for the taunt. Gnome will rejoin his team. It's a 3-on-4. Surrender vote started. That might be one to go through with, boys. Retribution, I don't think, have a traditional way back into this game. If they're going to find themselves knocking on victory's door, they're going to need some help from Noxious.
If you look at these two drafts on paper, you would want to favor Retribution.
They won the draft.
As soon as you start to witness Noxious's gameplay, it's just a very obvious sense of outclass compared to Retribution. I just think that Noxious have been way too on par with not only recognizing weak points in Retribution's early game, but also in just consistently punishing them. They have not given Lyzurrr any room to breathe since he made that initial misplay by the right mid Harpies of trying to contest Reform Mango after having already expended the Deathbane. By that point, since he knew he had the Cobra's Kiss, he's not going to be able to confirm those right mid Harpies. There's no chance in hell that he takes those away from Mercury. So the appropriate play would have been to just accept the loss of those right mid Harpies, fall back, go to your mid laner ahead of time before losing your entire health bar, and then look to just make a play for the left, right, or left mid Harpies, even go for the left back camps. You don't necessarily have to challenge the enemy team at level 2.
Right. You just kind of walk away. I might not have said this, but I said it in my head. Noxious have the type of draft where they lose the game if they don't get off to an absurd lead. If Mercury doesn't get stupid fat in the first 7 minutes, then it's a failure because Gnome's the only magical damage on the team, and Retribution's just going to build 17 Nemean Lions, and you're not going to be able to do anything. Well, guess what, folks? Noxious's jungler got off to a stupid fat lead, and the Mercury's just doing his thing. Retribution do find a kill. That's all well and good, but Meow8 now looking for the 1v1 versus Eribiiax. Mr. Turtle in the wings, and this could be a bad look. 2 kills going the way of Ret, but Gold's Fury on this side of the map's already down, and Noxious going to get a Pyro and look towards a Fire Giant, and judging from the response of the blue team, they'll get the Fire Giant.
But that was the grouping that we were waiting for from Retribution. Spot out the 2 members that have isolated themselves from the rest of Noxious, and when you realize that no one's going to rotate to come and save them, push for as much as you can right away. I like this play from Retribution. It's probably the closest thing to a reasonable response we've been able to see from this roster. And now, Xuen has respawned, will ult back in with that Defender of Olympus. Mr. Turtle trying to buy some time, looking for the Shell Spikes, looking for the Thorns, but it's still not good enough. Double Hunters don't even seem to care.
Mercury just tear apart the Phoenix, tear apart the opposition. Lyzurrr gets a kill onto Gnome. Nice beats from Dobson to avoid Mango's dash. Noxious still pushing in. I think this is a mistake. They'll think that as well. The fall back from the red team.
This is also one of the few times where I think Mango memed a little bit too hard and played himself by going for the Frostbound Hammer. If he has any crit item in that slot, because the Kuzenbo is irrelevant at this stage. There's nothing that Mr. Turtle is going to do in terms of reflect damage that's going to have any sort of serious impact against Mango's damage output. So Mango probably should have kept things a little bit more conventional here with the Mercury instead of going for the Frostbound when he wasn't having an issue chasing down any members. Just grab the crit.
That's fair. I would agree with you. I think Captain Twig from Obey fame might disagree with you. Double kill for Noxious, by the way. The move for the Frostbound Mercury has been, Twig's been really hanging on to that.
I like Frostbound Mercury. I just think that it's unnecessary here for Mango. When you're so ridiculously far ahead, more crit damage is just going to kill Retribution faster. They don't have a way to actually defend themselves from a crit damage Mercury right now.
I agree. It's one of those, you're given certain luxuries when you are ahead like this, and crit is that world, right? So Noxious kind of playing with weighted gloves on, but no complaints here. 15K in the lead, 20-7. This is a matter of time until Noxious really topple the Titan. Best of 3, of course. So that's why we don't see the surrender. A lot of fans at home kind of always sit here spamming F6. Why aren't they surrendering? The game is clearly, over. Well, Retribution are using this time to adjust and figure out what went wrong, because this is not. Sometimes you have those games, Taco, where you're just like, oh, mid lane got caught, or we lost a solo lane matchup in picks and bans, or hey, you just sucked, let's fix it. But you look at this game and you go, so everybody sucks, and we won the picks and bans, and nobody had a good game. Where did we fall apart? And that's really what Retribution are looking to use this time for. Noxious are on a tear, and Ret's just trying to figure out what went wrong.
Well, one by one, the members of Retribution are just steadily being burned away here by Noxious. Girdle even going to be popped here for good measure. Total Bad Boy, the center of attention here, but not for long, because Reform Mango is going to send him back into that fountain in no time at all. Now, Gnome, Xuen, and Reform Mango already inside of the Titan room, diving the other members of Retribution who are still standing.
Hydro and Eribiiax on the way here. Titan going to be cut down to 75%. Lyzurrr does find XuenMushh, but still damage going on the Titan. Half, and now Noxious focusing it, 25%. Mr. Turtle will fall down to the wayside, by the way. And the Titan ultimately falling on the side of Retribution. Game goes to Noxious.
Still counted as a full deicide because he just barely managed to respawn at the very end there from Meow8, but nothing for a Chernobog left to do in that sort of situation. This one kind of just pulled away from Retribution very early on. I don't think it was one particular instance that caused the downfall of this entire match, so much as it was legit every single lane just happening to lose.
Exactly. Really strong stuff coming out from Noxious. This was one of those games where, like I said, the draft phase really defied what went on in the game. Who's your MVP? I mean, I'm looking at Mercury.
I think you have to.
I'm looking at
I think
Mercury.
Mango not only got every single one of those lanes ahead, but he kept them that way.
Yeah.
He was constantly applying pressure wherever the buffs were spawning, wherever he was needed. He always seemed to somehow make some sort of a guest appearance when it mattered most.
That's what you've got to do, especially if you're going to say to your team, look, I'm going to play the physical. They banned out 2 of the magical. He could have. There were still some options in that magical jungle category, right? I look at characters like Poseidon that I think can jungle well, and there are some mages that were available to him. So he says, I could go into the path less traveled and stick to our plan of magical jungler, or just give me the Mercury and I'll hit a home run. And that's exactly what he did.
I mean, if you're going to play Mercury like that, let him have it every single time. I doubt that anyone on Noxious is ever going to complain about that one. And the magical damage really did not seem to make that much of a difference either. Also, I liked what the Athena was able to do throughout that match. I think that's when had the right mentality, trying to prioritize the damage off of that Defender of Olympus, because it kind of compensated for not having a hard mage.
It really did. Defender of Olympus certainly worked out. You know, I even in the picks and bans said you've got 2 magical sources. I always mention Athena. I think the shield wall and the slam down from the ult is special.
That's what it was, though. Lyzurrr kills himself by just not taking the appropriate pathing. He deadbanes in one direction and then backtracks himself instead of just running in a straight line towards his T2 tower. It just feels like Lyzurrr was kind of wrapped up in a lot of panic and confusion, and that just led to him making some very rushed decisions that, in hindsight, it's always 2020.
Newer jungler. I mean, that's really what's up here. Lyzurrr playing in the jungle now, one of the first times he's been doing so. We saw the solo lane had shifted over to the Hunter. Nate now playing the Chernobog. So a lot of different turnarounds and a lot of different shakeups for this team on the side of Retribution. So that's probably what I'm thinking is kind of leaning towards their Game 1 defeat.